Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Motivation. Thank you so much for joining us today. I pray that you all had a blessed weekend, and I'm excited for this week coming up. Beginning this week, what we are doing is we are going to take a look at a different topic each week. And so, what we will do is we will look at a topic and we will stay on the same topic the entire week, and ultimately, we will be able to dig in deeply to what these different topics are. And we're going to have guest speakers that come on periodically throughout the week to help us tackle those particular topics. So let's go ahead and get started. So this week we are going to be talking about problem solving. Problem solving. So each and every day we are going to look at problem solving and what it is that we can do to help in addressing problems in our life. And so first, with everything I like to do, I like to start out with the definition. So as we look at the definition of a problem is this: a problem is a matter or situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with and overcome. Let's read that again. A matter or situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with and overcome. So let's take a look at problem solving. And today we're going to start by what we have to do to identify the problem. And identifying the problem, if we don't identify the problem, then we're out there trying to solve for a problem and we haven't clearly identified with it. As we look at problems in our lives, we all face problems in different fashions. We face them with school or in our job or in our own businesses. We face them in church. We face them at home with our finances, with our children, with everything in life. We are going to run into problems. And so what we want to do is that we want to first start out by identifying or defining exactly what the problem is. And so a couple ways to look at this: with every problem there is a starting point. A starting point is, how do you solve it? And here we're looking at is identifying the problem, being very clear on what it is exactly that we want to address. Because if we're not specific, if we don't identify or define the problem, then what happens is this: is if there's people involved, then they're going to get confused on what exactly you're trying to do. And the problem, or defining the problem, it has to be very clear as well. If you just go out to people and say, hey, I have a problem about my finances, well, what folks are going to do is they are just going to say, okay, what's the problem with it? Is that you're not making enough money? Is the situation that you're not saving enough? Is the problem that you're spending too much? You're mismanaging your money? What exactly is the problem when you say, I have a problem with my finance? So you have to define the problem and you have to be very specific when addressing it. So let's look at a couple things here. So also, when we look at problems, we look at that starting point. We look at the starting point because here's what happens: many people want to, as soon as they are aware of a problem, they want to get right to the end. They want to solve it. So you bring a problem to someone and they're thinking that, and basically they get to the end where they're solving the problem. And so here's a good example: if my wife brings an idea to me and she says, you know what, here's what happened today at work, here's what happened for this situation, what happens for me is I automatically go into solve mode. I want to get to the end and get to the situation or get to the solution so that this will no longer be a problem for my wife. But we can't do that because what's happening is I'm skipping a long process. I don't actually know what the problem is that I'm trying to solve because it has not been clearly defined. So you want to define the problem clearly. And here's why: because so once again, everyone will understand exactly what they're working on and what they're trying to fix. For example, if you're a business owner, your clients have issues, your clients have problems. Well, how do you find out exactly what is going on with them? What is it that what problem do they face that you are trying to bring the solution or help them find the solution to? And how do you do that? You do that by asking questions. You do it from, you have to know, what are the facts? What are the facts of the situation? And you want to differentiate between the facts of the situation and opinions and emotions, because opinions and emotions can kind of cloud the situation when you're trying to define what exactly the problem is. And you want to ask your client, what are the underlying causes? What led up to this particular problem or this situation? That way you have some background history and dealing with your own problems as well. What are some underlying causes that need to be addressed that can help you in ultimately getting to a situation where you can solve the problem? You also want to do this. You want to gather as much information that you can about the situation. Who's involved, who might have witnessed it, or what are some facts that can help in the situation, or what led to the situation. For example, you're a company owner and you sent out a product to a customer and it arrived late. You guaranteed that it would be there in 3 days. So you sent it out on Monday and you said Monday, Tuesday, that would be there by Friday morning. And it doesn't get there until, we'll say, Saturday. Well, looking at all the people that are involved, looking at gathering the facts on the situation. Okay, so you have your website set up, the person orders it, and then it goes to a order manager, then it goes to a order fulfiller, then it goes to a order mailer, then it goes to the post office, then it gets to the client. Well, gather as much facts as you can about that situation. Okay, did everything work on the website? What was the timing that it went through each person in the process? And so you're gathering facts so that rather than just going out there and trying to solve the problem and say, you know what, customer, we will refund your money and thank you very much for doing business with us. But instead, you are looking at all the facts, because it could have been in the very beginning. Maybe they thought that they ordered it on this particular date, but they ordered it later. But then in the process, it could have been where it was the post office who made the error, or it could have been someone in your shipping or your receiving or process. But when you gather all the facts for the situation, you can have a better idea of exactly defining what the problem was, and then ultimately getting to a solution. And so then you also want to, and in doing this, you're going to identify in which step of the process the problem actually occurred, because you don't want to say, so in this particular case, the problem was that your order arrived late to your client. And so you don't want to just say, hey, I have a problem with my business, because once again, it's going back to being so vague that when you're trying to fix the problem, it's not going to help. So another thing to look at is how do you know if you really have a problem? And here's one way that you can look at it. You can throw things into this template. What is going on now? What happened? And what could it be in the future? What do you want to happen? So what happened this time, and where is it that you want it to be? So for example, if you are a business owner and you have some clients right now, what is going on right now is you have 2 clients, and what is or what could be in the future is that you want 18 clients or you want 10 clients. So the problem there is that you do not have enough clients. So in looking at this, we did the what is and what could be. Another example in the shipment example is that you have, what is right now is you have late shipments. And what could be in the future in the ideal situation is that you have early shipments. Or in your personal life, if you talk about your marriage or relationships or school or in church, is right now the what is that you have bad communication, and what is that causing? It's causing arguments. And what could be in the future is you have good communication, you have peace, and you have harmony. So that's a template that you can look at, is what is going on right now and what could be in the future. And this will help you in defining your problem. And you do not want to leave, once again, you do not want to leave anything out there for interpretation, because when you do that, you're throwing out a vague idea of what the problem is. And people that are involved in solving it, including yourself, are going to get confused because they don't know exactly what they are trying to solve the problem for. So, once again, when you throw something that's vague out there, you're going to have difficulty solving it. And what's going to happen is this: if you don't clearly identify the problem, it's going to be very hard for you to solve it. So just to recap a few things, we're talking about problem solving. And the first thing that you need to do is define the problem. Clearly define what it is that is going on in the situation so that you can address it. Be very clear about it. Differentiate between facts and what the opinions are. Look at underlying causes. Also, look at gathering as many facts as you can about the situation so that you can make a well-informed decision and state clearly what the problem is so that you have an idea of what you're going to be addressed, as well as especially when you have other people involved in the process. They need to know exactly what the problem is, and it's clearly defined so that they can help move in the right directions. And finally, that you want to avoid trying to solve your problems without any data. So once again, it goes back to the facts. Make sure that you are gathering enough facts, then make sure that they're facts and not just people's opinions, but facts, so that you can clearly define the problem and ultimately get to the correct solution. And by solving the problem, you will hopefully not go through these situations anymore. So once again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for watching us on Morning Motivation. And this week we are talking about problem solving. And what I challenge you to do is when you face a problem, that you first look at defining what the problem is. Before you define the problem, you can't effectively solve or come up with a solution until it's defined. Once again, thank you all for watching. I pray that you all are having a blessed day. Don't forget to share, like, and we love those comments to keep coming. So thank you so much. Take care and God bless.